Today is Saturday, May 24th. The actual day I am doing it is the correct day. It's beautiful outside. Let's see. Me and Christina are working to try and get our sleep schedules on track, which is going about as well as it always does. Anyway, so what topic should I talk about today? I think I want to go a little bit more up in the air. My relationship with God. There's this issue that I think exists with ourselves when it comes to forgiving. It's really hard to forgive ourselves from doing what's wrong, or when we do what's wrong. And that means it's hard to pick ourselves up. Which then makes my mouth go. We want to separate ourselves from God and give ourselves some time. Or at least that's for me personally. I did something wrong and I feel really down. I don't want God to be a part of it. And part of that is probably an excuse. I think a lot of us get this idea that the moment we go back to God, the moment God's going to talk about how bad we are. Or maybe it's just that we don't feel like we're worthy of it. How do we get on the horse and staple ourselves to it so we don't fall off? It makes you feel like there's no actual way of doing it. Like, there's a bunch of stuff in the Bible that implicates, Sorry, give me a second. Let me reword it a little better. So, in the Bible, especially Jesus, he talks about wolves in sheep's clothing. He talks about the Pharisees who prevent people from going to heaven, but they themselves don't. He talks about how in the end of the world, there'll be half the people are not going to be there because they ran out of oil for their lamp. He talks about them being judged, and Jesus and God says, when I was poor, you didn't give me money or whatever. And you get this idea of, what if my success of getting to heaven is a 50-50 shot? And I don't think that's accurate. But it's hard to not be afraid of that. Being face to face with God and Him saying, I didn't know you. Or missing out. I like to think, though, that I don't think it's quite that way. I think the problem is there's too many people who aren't really Christians. It's not the people who are trying and working hard to become Christian, and doing what's right. It's the people who are either using, their Christian in name alone, or there's a selfishness in what they do. They're very good listeners, but they don't listen to a word you say. I don't think the issue is whether am I going to heaven or not. I think the issue is that there is a lot of people who aren't willing to take those steps. They want to have one foot in the water and one foot out of it. In the Bible, Jesus says, I believe it's Jesus, I might be wrong, be hot or cold, don't be lukewarm or I'll spit you out of my mouth. And it's kind of a reflection of a lot of people. They want to have both ways. They want both the good and the bad. They want to have all the positives. And yeah, I'm going to keep saying the same things repeatedly occasionally, so I'm sorry about repeating myself, because apparently I say the same things over and over again, just in different ways, so it doesn't quite sound like it's repeating, but it's obviously the same things I just said. I know this is going off in all the different directions, but I think mainly I'm just talking about our willingness. I don't think we should see ourselves as a gamble. It's not a God's gamble, like you just have to roll the right, whatever, and magically you either get into heaven or you don't. I don't think that's it at all. I think it's much more representative of the fact that there's so many people who aren't even willing to go that far. There's these mega churches full of people. And yet, I wonder how many of them are full of non-Christians. Of course I don't know, and I definitely don't know about individuals. But it's really easy in those situations to just go along with the flow. And it's very easy for people to put themselves in the shoes of God, one way, shape, or form. That's what it warns about the Pharisees. That's what the Pharisees were. They were elders, ministers, preachers, priests. People who had lived their entire lives learning about God. And yet, they missed the point. They weren't willing to see past. They loved where they stood. And when it came to Jesus, they saw themselves as being in good intention. They saw themselves as the heroes. They didn't see what they were doing was wrong. They didn't see... Oftentimes when they would challenge Jesus, he would answer them, or he would say something, and they wouldn't think about their answer. Instead, they would think about the way to manipulate him. They weren't paying attention to what he was saying. All they were doing was paying attention to what they thought they could manipulate and control him. So anyway, there you are. How am I manipulating and controlling you today? Anyway, I'm just glad I got a video out on time. Hopefully I can come up with better topics and better amounts of time and maybe more entertaining. But anyway, until then, I'll keep working on these videos, keep moving my glasses up and down, and keep smiling in such a way that you wonder if I'm even smiling at all. There!